Well, um, Hi everyone, and welcome to the fall of 2023 Student Club Symposium. My name is Vivian Delgado, and I will be one of many of the hosts that you'll be hearing from today. But before we get started, we just want to take the time and just review the topics that we're going to be discussing, as well as going over a few introductions, and of course, to remind you that we're here to help. So if at any point you have any questions or any concerns, feel free to either just raise your hand on Teams or type it in the chat box, and one of us will try to answer your question. And we're here to help you guys navigate. So whether this is your first club and org or your 10th, take it and learn with us. So as you can see, today we're going to be going over 3 information sessions that include finance. So basically just answering some of those major questions of how much money does my club receive and how can I use it and so forth. Our second topic of the day will be event planning. So whether it be planning for a club meeting or something as big as a campus event, we're hoping to give you guys some tips. And our last topic for the day will be how to become an executive board member. And we're hoping to give you those tips on how to exercise your inner leader. So what's our goal for today? Well, we can already tell that you being here demonstrates that you're dedicated to your club, and we're just here to provide you with those extra building blocks that you might need to develop your leadership skills, as well as just helping you gear up for the new upcoming semester. To help us get a little more familiarized with each other, I want to go ahead and introduce some of the student engagement staff that's here with us today, as well as some of the club and org advisors that are here. We'll go ahead and do this popcorn style. So I'll go ahead and go first and then popcorn it over to someone. My name is Vivian Delgado. I'm a coordinator for the Office of Student Engagement. I am based off of the Dundalk campus, and I am going to go ahead and popcorn this over to Dan Coco.
Hi, I'm Dan Coco. I'm a specialist with the Office of Student Engagement, and I work primarily in both the Essex and Dundalk locations. And I'll popcorn it to Chrissy.
Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I am Chrissy Hoffman. I am the Assistant Director of Student Engagement and work on the Essex and Dundalk campuses. Been here for 15 years now, and this is probably one of my favorite events that we have done because you all gear me up to get excited as the semester begins. And I will turn it over to Dan Sim.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dan Sim. I'm the Assistant Director over at Catonsville of Student Engagement. You've probably gotten an email from me, and if not, I will certainly be emailing you as we go forward. I'm excited to work with everyone this year. It's going to be a good year. I'll toss it back to Vivian because I think that's what we're doing. And if not, please correct me, Vivian.
No, are there any advisors here with us that would want to introduce themselves and maybe the club and org that they have?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Patricia Quintero Hall. I'm the advisor for the Multicultural Student Association. And so happy to be here also. Thank you. Renica?
Hi, I'm Linda Gronberg-Quinn. I'm the co-advisor of the Beta Alpha Tau chapter of Phi Theta Kappa over at the Dundalk campus, co-advising with Chrissy.
Hi, I'm Margaret Hinkle. I am the SADA advisor, which is the Student American Dental Hygienists Association, and I'm on the Dundalk campus.
Hello, everyone. My name is Parita Vithani. I'm on the Catonsville campus, and I am the club advisor for Psychology Club.
Hello, I am Teresa Robinson, and I am one of the co-advisors for Club Ed.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Hadwin, and I'm at the Catonsville campus for SOTA, Students of Occupational Therapy Assistants.
Hey, I'm Renika. I work with the yoga club and I also work with the first year experience at the college.
Oh, well, if that's everyone, I'm gonna go ahead and let Dan Coco take over.
Sorry, let me unmute myself. So today we're going to start things off with starting about Connect Fest. And Connect Fest, if you're unaware, is an event that happens on each campus where clubs and organizations from the college have tables and provide information to all the students. And um, it's a great opportunity to reach out to prospective members and current members and just get the word out there. And also, it's good to let others know about any upcoming events that you may have or co-sponsoring with other clubs during the semester. And as you can see on the flyer, there's one on Catonsville on the 6th of September, Essex on the 7th, Owings Mills the 11th, and Dundalk on the 12th. So, that being said, we're gonna play some games. So our first game is a scavenger hunt, and we'll have a couple of minutes for each round. So the first round, if everyone could take a couple minutes and find a pen, a phone charger, a notebook, something blue, and headphones. So if you guys wanted to, in your immediate vicinity, if you can find any of these things, let me see if what I got. I think a blue pen counts as both, so maybe I got that. Um, got a notebook around here. Headphones, got those. Phone charger. My phone is currently hooked up to it, so can't see it.
Dan, I just wanted to point out that you have headphones on your ears too,
Oh my
just in
gosh.
case if you forgot.
I'm also wearing headphones, so yes. Pen, something blue, phone charger, notebook. Okay. So I guess we'll end it there. And how many of us, if you could raise your hand in the chat and say how many of you have found any of those items? Nice. Seeing some hands. Great. Awesome. Nice. Okay, so this next round is a little bit more difficult. It's a fruit. Money could be a coin, dollar, Monopoly money, a water bottle, a highlighter, and something orange. So if you have orange, that's a fruit. You got both. Um, let's see. I've got orange scissors. Ooh, I've got, oh no, that's yellow. Yellow highlighter. Water bottle. No. Let's see. Money. Don't have any on me. Don't have any fruit either. Wait. Nope, no fruit in my lunchbox. Surprise. All right. Guess we could end it there. So if you guys want to do the same thing and raise your hands, see how many of us found that. I know it was a little more difficult, but yeah. Nice. See some hands. Awesome. All right, so now I'm going to pass it on to Dan Sim, who's going to talk about the finance aspect of a club or organization.
Thank you all. So I think you can see me advancing the slide. That worked, right? I stole control from Vivian. I hope that's okay. You can steal it back afterwards, but I figure if I'm chatting. So I get to talk a little bit about finance because money makes the world go around, right? And one of the things you have as a student organization is a budget. Um, that's information housed in student life. The funds are housed in student life. We're happy to help you along the way with your student organization to be successful with providing those financial resources. Um, so let's talk a little bit how to use your student organization budget. So the most important thing to use your student organization budget is being able to let us know what you're trying to do. Returning student organizations, which is almost everyone in this meeting today, are allocated $2,000, assuming you continue your affiliation with the college. You're able to let us know who's on your executive board, that your students are interested. And so that's the most important thing that we're knowing here. There is additional funding available, most likely for student organizations. The biggest thing that we ask is that if you're as a student organization, you're spending money, you have good events planned. We have some student organizations already requesting funds for events that will happen in October, December, January. It's never too early to put in those requests if you have an idea what you're going to do. If you don't know what you're doing, please wait until there. But we do have additional funding available, so don't want anyone to think like we only have $2,000 for the year. Like that's where you should plan. But if your group's doing fabulous events, you're having lots of students attend and participate, and you're making a difference on the campus community, more funding is available for those opportunities, most likely. The biggest thing is to make sure you're submitting expenditure requests because every purchase needs to be approved in advance. And I'm putting a link in the chat right now so that you have that link. Hopefully you've seen that before. But all purchases need to be approved in advance. And purchases can cover a whole bunch of things. They can cover bringing people onto campus to present to you, to have guest speakers, to purchase giveaways for events, purchase food for events, decorations for events. Whether you want to travel or something else. They typically can't be used though to spend those big objects. The college has computers in every room, so we're not going to probably buy you a personal laptop for your student organization because laptops are available or computers are available in every room you're already on campus. I see a hand up, and I'm not sure if that's still from the last activity or this activity. Rachel, question? You can put it in the chat or unmute. Yeah.
Take it off from last time.
Okay, that's fine. If someone does have a hand up, is there someone else with a hand? There's someone else with a hand. Who's got a hand up? Keisha. Is that still from last time too? That's from the last game. If you do have a question, please feel free to throw it in the chat or pop a hand up or unmute yourself, and we can definitely have that conversation. I don't want to ignore folks, but I know hands are up from last time too. The biggest thing for expenditure requests is that you're putting it in writing 2 weeks in advance. Ordering food takes time. Ordering supplies from Amazon takes time. Reserving rooms takes time. All those things take a little bit of time to make sure they happen and to make sure an event can be successful. The other thing is to have an event, you're going to want to advertise that event. And if you don't have all that confirmed ahead of time, it's hard to advertise, say, hey, we're going to be in this room at this day and time with this food if we don't have that confirmed. So the biggest thing is we say, and everything needs to be approved in advance, put it in writing, give us at least 2 weeks to work on it with our campus partners to make sure your event can happen successfully. They're all submitted electronically, and it's the same form for everything that you'd be looking for events for. So that's your food request, your room request, any kind of expenditure request. We'll put it in writing so that everyone's on the same page. And we do need these events, want these events to be open and advertised. That's part of the student activity fee that funds student organizations on campus, is that events are open and advertised to the entire campus community. Again, 2 weeks in advance. If you come to us the week before, we're probably not going to be able to order everything and make sure the space is available. It might be able to happen, but give us the time we need to make that happen successfully. So I put this link in the chat so that you'll have it. You will need to log in with your CCBC credentials. So please make sure you're at a space you can do that successfully to do that. Again, 2 weeks in advance at least, okay? All your approvals, whoever submits that request will get an email immediately when they click send, submit at the end of it. And it'll get emailed to you, to myself and my other colleagues in student engagement, so that we're all on the same page about what's being requested and where we are in that process. So if that person that submits it, please make sure you're checking your email, because that will be our primary means of communication if we have questions or concerns about some of the orders you placed. We also encourage you and ask you to please include the advisor of your student organization on that. Hopefully that's not a surprise, because the student leaders should be talking to the advisor and be on the same page about what that looks like throughout the process. But we also know that sometimes it's important to have that communication happen, documented in email, so there's not that miscommunication as well. Again, 2 weeks in advance. So if you don't see this trend, it's a trend that, yes, we need this information 2 weeks in advance to help you be successful. So let's talk a little about catering and ordering food, because student organizations love to cater. Student organizations love to order food for their events, and that's wonderful. That's one of the nice things we can. We do have a contract with Sodexo, the dining company, on the main campuses for most catering options. There's a couple exceptions to that, especially if you're looking to be respectful of a culture and have food to represent that culture. If you're having an educational event and you want to go a little more authentic than Sodexo can do, sometimes they can't get authentic with some foods from around the world. So we can look at other options for that. Kosher and halal food can often be a challenge with Sodexo, so we can look at other options for that if you do have students with dietary needs in your community. And events that happen on the weekend, events that happen off campus, we're not going to make you pick up Sodexo at 8:30 in the morning on a Saturday morning. They're not open. So we could look at other options for that. Those are all things that, again, put it in writing. We'll find a way to make it work. With that, we'll also make sure that in that email chain that gets started when you submit the event request form, that will email you when the catering's all confirmed, when the room's confirmed. With that form also has the entire catering menu for Sodexo and what they can and can't provide. And again, 2 weeks in advance, please, to help make sure that any of their food needs to be ordered. So day of the event, Sodexo does need to be picked up. You can pick it up in the cafe on your campus. And after the event, they'll give you a nice big cart. You can wheel back the serving materials and whatever else, the permanent equipment that would need to go back. So let's talk about watching movies, because student organizations often want to watch a movie, and we love when student organizations watch a movie. But you might have seen these warnings before, and if you've seen some of my talks before, I always bring this up because it comes up every semester. But these are the official warnings, and as a student organization, you can't just show whatever movie you want whenever you want. There's FBI warnings, all sorts of digital copyright warnings, because as a student organization, if you're showing these movies publicly, there's a copyright on that. And whoever owns that copyright needs to license it to us if they do want to see a movie. Myself, my colleagues can help arrange that to make that happen. It typically does cost a little bit, and your student organization budget can do that. The two big distributors are on your screen right now: Swank.com and Criterion Pictures. Take a look at that, but we do have contacts at those companies. We're happy to do that contract. Please, as a student organization, whether this or something else, please never sign a contract. You're not authorized to sign a contract on behalf of the student organization or on behalf of the college, but it is something we can help out with. So please make sure you're in touch with Student Life, and we can make sure to hopefully be able to have that copyright for you all. The biggest exceptions for that is if it's a small local company, or if it's someone who's just really purely looking for the educational message. It might not be the charge that comes along with it. But almost anything you've seen in the theaters, there's a charge for those popular movies. So let's talk about travel, because student organizations love to go places. For any kind of travel off campus, an advisor does need to be present. That's anything from going to the movies with your student group, going into Baltimore with your student group. The advisor needs to be present for the duration of that travel to make sure that everyone's on the same page as a group event. Student organizations sometimes go to conferences, and that can be connected directly to your student organization, your outcomes that you're looking to have, whether that's directly to a local conference, whether that's a little bit further away. We can typically send some students to those conferences to learn, to engage, to expand on their leadership opportunities. And those conferences do come out of a separate fund in student life. That's not going to come directly from your student organization budget. We also can sometimes do trips. So in the past, student groups have taken trips down to DC, taken trips up to Philadelphia, trips up to New York City. Those big group trips where we typically would reserve a bus for like 30 or 50 people, that would come from your student organization budget. The important thing is that a lot of times when we do these things, we'll sign the contract, we'll make it happen in student life. Oftentimes does require student organizations to collaborate to get more folks to fill the bus. We're not going to get a 50 passenger bus and send 3 people on the bus. That doesn't make sense financially. So if it's a smaller trip and we're not reserving a giant bus charter for that, it might just be marked tickets down to DC. We have student groups do that a lot, or up to Philadelphia and New York to look at some of those other transportation options rather than a chartered bus. But please talk to folks about that. We have travel applications, travel waivers to make sure that liability is covered, to make sure you're safe, to make sure the students attending are safe, and kind of know what that trip entails. So how many weeks in advance do we need all this information? 2. I tricked you. We need more than 2 weeks for some of this stuff to arrange it. Because if we're signing contracts for buses and we're getting tickets to the museum up in New York or whatever, all that requires a longer process, which is through our purchasing order system, and it takes a little bit longer. So 2 weeks for almost everything, but these bigger events where we're traveling, we're going places, we're reserving buses, needs a little bit more time to let people sign up for the trip, to sign all the paperwork, and to get us all on the same page about that. So thank you everyone for that fell for my trick. 2 weeks is good for almost everything, but for travel gives us a little more time to help you make sure it's able to happen successfully. And please also look for more than 2 weeks of planning for some of the major events that you're doing. We talked about trips a little bit, but if you're having events with a lot of logistics, you're having expensive events, trying to bring in some major speakers, we want to give it time to advertise, want to make sure students know about it, make sure that we can complete all the information we need so students are well aware and prepared for your opportunities. So we do typically say 2 weeks for all the expenditure requests. Again, the link is in the chat there. But more than 2 weeks for some of those unusual events that student organizations sometimes love to do. We also do want to make sure that you know that it is your student organization as a student leader and as an advisor. It's your group to run successfully. Our job in student life is to help you be successful. We're going to give you some tools you need. We're going to give you some guidance. We're going to help you with some of the paperwork, sign some contracts, give you some money. But ultimately, what you do is through your student organization. If you want to do food, if you want to do trips, those ideas are typically generated from you as a student leader and as in concert with your advisor there. So we ask you to have those conversations. Please know student life staff, we are student engagement. We changed our name. Student engagement staff is here to help. Even though we might call ourselves student life staff sometimes, student engagement staff is here to help. So please stop by the student engagement office, drop us an email, let us know how we can help. That's the biggest goal with finance, is that it's not always the fun part, but it's the needed part in order to make it happen. Any questions about finance? I went through a bunch of stuff. A lot of that's also covered in the YouTube video I sent to student organization leaders earlier to kind of cover the information, and will always be accessible as well. Any questions? Yes, Jenna. You can unmute or type it.
So I just want to make sure I'm correct. So pretty much any costs for events or decorations, like anything that would come out of, like, even for a club, that is all part of the 2,000 that were allotted in the beginning of the year. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much anything the student organization would want to spend would come from that funding. We approve probably 95, 98% of the requests we get in. Sometimes we got to modify just to make sure it's in line with financial policy. But that would all come out of that budget. And then it's up to the student organization to keep track of that. We also keep track though, to help you along the way. So it's not just on your shoulders to keep track of that budget.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay. Well, thank you for listening to the most thrilling part of the presentation, in my humble opinion. And I will toss it. I think I'm tossing it back to Dan Coco.
Yep.
Great.
Yep. Okay, so now
Yep.
we're gonna play another game. This time it's Virtual Pictionary. So I would like to ask the chat for 3 volunteers, and you guys can draw what you want, and then after 2 to 3 minutes, the rest of us are going to guess what it is. Okay, so we're going into a whiteboard. Okay. So if 3 people could raise their hands, and the first of which could okay, so we got Dumont. Just need 2 other people. Any volunteers? Got Seth and someone else. And Emma. Okay. All right, so Dumont, did you want to go first? And I'm just asking if you could draw it in this blue square here.
Anything I want.
Anything you want. Keep it a little, not too simple, but
Easy.
not too complicated. Yeah,
Okay.
so that the rest of us can guess it.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay.
I can't see it.
Awesome. Can't see it?
No.
I think it's, everyone's thinking that it's a water bottle, heating pad, I see. Water bottle.
Correct. It's a water bottle.
Great. Awesome. It looks great. Okay, so now our next contestant can, after I'm done with this. All right, so whoever raised their hand next, which one was that? Is that Seth? Yeah. Okay, if you just want to draw whatever you want in the blue square, and then the rest of us can guess it. Oh, I don't think we can see that. Do you see the
Can you see it?
a little bit, yeah.
It's not a bear. It's a koala.
Koala, great.
Yeah.
Looks good. All right. And contestant number 3, if we have any of those. Emma, great. Do you see this blue square on the whiteboard? Awesome. Looks like we got some kettle, teapot, tea kettle. Awesome. I like the steam. Looks good. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for everyone participating. I appreciate that. Now I'm gonna take it back to Chrissy, who's going to talk to us about event planning.
Yes, event planning. All right, so while we're getting back to the presentation, what I am hoping everyone could just do, because as you all know, hopefully you know, we do have some prizes to award by the end of this session. So I was hoping everyone could just take a moment and put most of you have your full name in your sign in, but if you don't, put your full name and then put what club or an organization that you're representing today. And then when I'm finished this, I'm going to go back to kind of tallying who's here so we can make that announcement by the end of the session. So just take a moment, really quick, type, type, type. I see it. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And I will put that into the spreadsheet so that we have it. Yes, you all are rock stars. Look at this going. All right. Fantastic. And we will choose, a student to win some money, but then also the club that has the largest amount of representation here today will also win a catered lunch for their club on behalf of the Office of Student Engagement that you can use whenever you would like. So that can definitely help out too. All righty. You guys are doing great. Okay, it's still coming in. Love it. Love it. Okay. Okay, so I am going to get into a little bit of event planning. So um, what I want to say about event planning is I I actually think it's probably the most fun thing that you're going to be able to do as a club and organization, for the mere reason that you get to bring to life ideas that support the mission of your organization and what you are trying to do at CCBC. All right. So there's a couple of steps that I want to go through. And what me, did I take control? Okay, I think I did. Did I take control of that? Did it? Okay, how do I take control? Uh I'll figure it out.
Up top, where
Oh.
it says,
Oh, take
yeah.
control. Got it. I took control. Um so step one is to generate ideas and brainstorm, right? And so I really like this graphic when you're thinking about brainstorming, of kind of thinking about these rules of brainstorming. And while I'm reading through them, I want you all to think about the best group that you've ever been a part of. And when you brainstormed, how did you do it? And so was it just speaking and talking? Did you write things down? So just kind of think about the best group you've ever been in and how did you brainstorm? And just type that in the chat for me while I go through these rules of brainstorming. So the first rule of brainstorming is that you want to defer judgment, right? Like it is so easy to stare at someone and go, "What did you just say?" Right? But at the same time, that is going to make that person kind of withdraw and not want to continue to give their ideas. Okay. So encourage wild ideas. All right. So it's easy to say something like, you know what? Our budget is unlimited. What kind of thing would you like to do? Right. And see what kind of things that you can come up with. Build on the ideas that other people have already come up with. And so someone might say, you know what, it might be great just to kind of take a trip. And the next thing you know, like, yeah, I've never been to, and something comes out and you're like, oh, that would be a really cool trip. And you're building, on top of each other's things there. Stay focused on the topic, okay? Because as I just said, like I could say, oh, I've never been to blah, blah, blah. We should take a trip. And the next thing you know, I'm talking about family vacations, right? Like that's not helping anyone in this situation. So you want to stay focused on your topic there. One conversation at a time. All right. So sometimes if our groups are really big, it might be easy to kind of talk at one end of the table or the other end of the table, or maybe across from the table. So you want to make sure that everybody is staying focused on that. be visual. You have to remember that everybody are different learners and absorbers of information, right? And so me talking to you today is going to absorb one way than me putting this information on the slide for you. And so write things down, do different things, and go for quantity at that time. So you want to see if you can fill whatever, X amount of things, or maybe fill a whiteboard. All right. So I'm going to look in here real fast. So I see jotting down ideas. Yes. Thank you for that. Roundtable discussions with someone recording. I love that, Ashley, because so many times we get into our brainstorming that we forget to write things down. So it's nice to say, hey, can you be the recorder for us at this time? Right. Like that would be really good. Mind mapping. How many of you have done mind mapping? Mind mapping is so cool. It's such a cool way of being able to just bring together everything. Um, a shared document. Yes, that's a great idea. Seth, do you have your hand up? Just kidding. No worries, no worries. I didn't know if you had another thing to share. Good. So when you think about this best group that you've ever been a part of, and you think about these different things, thinking, talking, writing things down, Jamont said, yes, thank you. So really having these conversations. And remember, it's okay to think big, okay? I have a picture that I love that says, you have to think big because it's hard to surf on a toothpick. Let that absorb for a second, okay? All right. So let's talk a little bit about when you're generating ideas. Now, how many times, and you guys can just like use the raise hand feature. How many times have you all been in a club or organization and you say, let's talk about ideas, and the room goes silent? Let's see how many. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Here comes some hands. Yeah. Let's be honest, people, right? Let's be honest. This has happened probably more than we like. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for being so honest. And so sometimes you need some leading questions, right? So you, as the leaders of these organizations, can always try to use some open-ended questions to hopefully try to get some people, to go. So what are the needs of your club and organization, and how can an event help to meet those needs, right? So think about your club, think about what the needs are. Think about what the campus community needs, right? And how can your event meet those needs? Um, what do we want people to learn or experience at our events? A lot of times we just need to get our name out there, right? And so what kind of event can you do where you can just get your name out there and your mission and all of those types of things? And I kind of went into the last one. What's the mission of your organization? You all have constitutions and bylaws. And if you did not know that, surprise, you all have constitutions and bylaws. And what those do is that is exactly what tells you what your organization should be doing at CCBC. If you ever need a copy of those, you can reach out to anyone in student engagement, Dan or myself, and we'll be glad to get you a copy of the Constitution and bylaws that we have on file. But how does your event align with that? So many times it's so easy to say, well, I want to do this huge picnic and I want to have this and this and this. But how does that go along with your mission? Okay. Does that all make sense so far? Okay. So step 2 is now you have to think about the details. And now you have to think about those specific things. Okay. So as you start to think about that, these are some things to ponder as you go. So what's the purpose of the event? Maybe you're trying to raise money for your organization because you want to take a larger trip than you thought. Maybe you have a pinning ceremony coming up. Maybe you're trying to do some kind of reception for everyone where you need money. Okay. Are you trying to increase your visibility? As I just was kind of talking a little bit, maybe you just want to get the word out about who you are and how you want people to join you. Are you trying to provide a social experience, not experiment? That would be interesting. A social experience for everyone, just getting together, getting to meet people, building community, right? And another thing to think about is what activities and elements are you going to incorporate that will support that purpose and mission of your organization, right? So, are you going to bring in a speaker? Maybe you're going to have a poetry slam. Maybe it's live music. Maybe it's some kind of sporting activity or food or something along those lines. Another thing to think about and consider is, are there opportunities for collaboration? And Dan talked a little bit about this when it came to finance, right? Like sometimes we want to do things, but our budget's just like, I'm not too sure about that. So who can you collaborate with and what can you do? And the more collaboration, if you think about, you have one club that has their core members, you have another club coming together, all of a sudden your numbers just doubled right then and there, and you're getting out to more folks there. Who's taking the lead on it? That's another important thing to think about. So who's the point person? And I just want to say to a bunch of leaders in here and a bunch of our advisors and everything, something that we all fall victim of, and that's no one's stepping up, so I have to do it. Right? And so as leaders, we can't watch something fail. That hurts us. That hurts us to the core normally to watch something fail. But it's okay to say, you know what? Why don't you be the point person on this? And that's good to go. Okay? Just because you're the president of an organization doesn't mean that you have to do every single event and be in charge of every single event. Delegate, right? Delegate. And then you need to think about what time and day of the week are ideal for our events, right? And I will tell you all right now, I'm a very candid, honest person. If you don't know me, there is no good time that is good for an event for every single person that you are trying to meet their needs, right? And so you just have to pick a time, you have to pick a day, and you have to go for it, as long as the majority of your core planning and executive board members can make it. And just understand that. It's one of those things that it's hard for me to grasp too, but that's just one of those things. Not everyone's going to be able to make everything. And I like this quote on here. So watch the little things. A small leak will sink a great ship. Okay, so it's all about the details. But details, you have to give me more details because that wasn't enough details. So you must think about more details. So how many people do we think will come to our event? What locations are going to be ideal for our event? Are we going to do it inside? Are we going to do it outside? If we do it outside, what are we going to do if there's inclement weather? Well, we need an inside location for that, right? And what inside location is going to be best? Because, I'm thinking probably 15 people, but what if we get 40 people? Right? Or what if your perfect location is already taken that day? So you really need to map out. What I like to say is always come up with at least 3 different locations that would work for what you're trying to do. If there's truly only one location, then you have to be flexible, maybe with your date or your time, right? Which goes into what's your ideal start and end time. When you think about start and end time now, you need to think, okay, I want the event to start at 3, but I'm actually going to need access to that room ahead of time, right? Because I need to set up for the event. And depending upon how elaborate your setup is, you might need an hour, you might need 30 minutes, you might need 10. So putting that in your request is something that's really, really important to think about. And then end time, you got to clean up. So it might be something that's 1 to 3, but it's going to take about a half an hour to clean up. So you're going to want to extend that till about 3:30, right? Who's likely to attend your event, and what is your budget for the event? These are all things that you need to decide before you can have that event. And that's a lot. That's a lot to think about before you can start that paperwork and say, hey, this is what we want to do, right? So the third step is you need to develop a marketing plan. So I feel like I have this passion inside of me about marketing, and I feel like I could talk about this for hours. So Vivian might have to cut me off. But what I'm really, really just want to push to you all is we are here to help you market your organizations however possible. We have many different means to do that, and so I hate to say it this way, but use us. Use what we can offer you in the best way possible. Okay. But think about it. Do you have a budget to use in order to do some of this publicity? There is some really outside the box kind of thinking. Okay. I have seen, I have to think about it, and I want you guys to think about it too, because I don't want to just keep talking at you. I want you guys to be involved. But what is the craziest marketing that you've ever seen that's caught your attention? Can you think about that and put that in the chat? What I will share with you all is when I was on a college campus, it wasn't at CCBC. I still want to do this at CCBC though. We had a remote control car. And what we did with the remote control car is we put a stick on the back of it and we put our flyer on that stick. And what we did is we just drove it around the quad. And we were kind of like hidden, so no one knew like who was driving it or where it was coming from. But what the coolest thing was is that our flyer, people were stopping and reading our flyer, right? Like people were going, "Oh, okay, I see what they're doing there." So does anyone have any other like publicity things that catch your eye that's creative and different? And that's, you guys need to think. Some Super Bowl commercials, sure. But why can't you make a commercial, Grace? Right? Why can't your club or organization go outside? We have these amazing things now called cell phones. I don't know if you guys have heard about them, but they do some really cool things like take videos, and you can make reels and you can post stories and do things like that. Send it to us, tag us in it, and we'll repost for you. Think about that. You could have so much fun. So I love that you said that in there. Social media posts, yes. Some social media posts get so many like shares, whatever it is, it gets out there. Thank you. Think about the audience and who you want to reach, right? If you want to reach students, you might need to market different than if you're trying to get faculty and staff to do something. Think about the language that you're using. Make sure everyone can understand what you're saying. So many times we can see flyers that will say, maybe your club and organization has an acronym. And I'm going to use a really simple one because you're all going to go, huh? But SGA, for example, right? So a flyer will say SGA on it. Come join us. And how many people you think walk around and go, what the heck is SGA? Right? So writing it out, Student Government Association. Like I will be honest, I absolutely love the dental hygiene club and organization. But if you put your acronym, which is like 15 letters long, I'm not sure I'm going to know what the heck that is if you have that on a flyer. Right? So think about your language, think about what you're using when you do that flyer, and develop that marketing plan. Make sure your flyer has all of that key information on it, okay? But then also think, where am I going to market this? Where is people going to see this, right? So you guys talked about social media already, but where on campus? And remember, it takes time to make publicity. It's not just something that, is just going to appear out of nowhere. Your copies, you're not going to snap your fingers and your copies are going to be there. So think about that. And think about how you're going to schedule that out too, right? Okay, so when am I going to put out a flyer? When am I going to do this? When am I going to send a reminder, and making sure that's all within there? See, I told you I can go off on this stuff because, well, see, there it is. There's the 15-letter one. SADA, there it is. Oh, it's not 15 letters, by the way. It's only 5, but I like to exaggerate. So we're still getting the word out. So I do want you all to take some time and think about what traditional promotion ideas that you have seen. So what's some traditional things that every club and organization will do to advertise? And you can either unmute or put it in the chat. What's just some traditional things? Flyers. Yes. Oh gosh. It's coming up so fast that I can't read them. Hold on. You all are doing so good. Okay. Let me go to my phone for a second because that's okay. Flyers and social media, free food, t-shirts. Yes, yes, all these things. I love all of this. The electronic boards. Yes. Email. Good. Okay. Good. Bulletin boards. Yeah. So those are the traditional things. Those are the things that people expect, right? And a lot of times those are the places that people will go. You guys are still going to here. Word of mouth. Yes. I love that you put that in there. Thank you so much. Emails, posting to the portal. Yes. All of those things, yes, are your typical traditional promotions, right? And so, what are some unconventional promotional ideas? And that might be something that you're like, Chrissy, but buttons. Buttons is untraditional, unconventional. But if you wear a button that says like something about your event, there you go. And guess what? Student engagement has the option for making buttons now. What if you do some go in now? Sorry, professors that are on here. I know this is being recorded, but I might. Shh, shh. But maybe you know that a certain class is happening, and before that class gets in, you go in and you write on the whiteboard or the chalkboard ahead of time that says meeting today, right? But making sure they can erase it, okay, type of thing. But go in and use the whiteboards and the chalkboards to be able to do that. Maybe it's something like you want to give out a snack with a little tag on it. People will eat the snack, they'll read the tag, they'll see what's going on. Setting up a table, yes. A huge spinner, yes. Think about those people that stand on the corners, right, and spin the signs. P.S. I don't know how they do a lot of what they do. They throw things up and catch it and don't drop it and all that kind of stuff, but that gets people's attention, right? When it first came out, I think it was better, but it gets people's attention, right? Ashley, thank you for saying texting. That is something that we offer to you all also. So we have a texting opportunity that all students can join us. Join into that texting and we will text it out to everybody. Yes, cards, handing out little cards to people. Hey, you want to come? You want to come? Be here. I love all of it. I want you to really think different and out of the box. Okay? Because what happens is when we stay in those traditional promotional things, you will fall into this it's blending in with everything, right? And you don't want to blend in. You want to stand out. Ryan said, offer help with subscription services to Canva. We do not do that at this time. Most students and I think clubs and organizations use the free membership that comes within Canva. I will say, like, I have a personal subscription for other things, but like I know there's some people who have them, so we can always help you if that's something that you're looking for. And Dan liked my thinking outside the box with my tic-tac-toe. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. And then last but not least, you want to evaluate how your event went. Okay. And I think a lot of times we forget to do this. We forget to sit down and actually say, all right, did we meet our goals? What went well? What didn't go well? Because it's okay to talk about that too. What would we change if we did this event again? What follow-up do we need to do? And then celebrate. You did it. Whether it was the best thing you've ever done in your life or kind of the worst thing you ever did, it doesn't matter. You did it. And celebrate your accomplishments. Okay. And I think this is really good because think about your legacy. If you were doing this event and you want to say to future folks who are within this club, I think you should do this event. Let me leave you kind of a snapshot of what this looked like. Write it down. Leave your legacy behind. All right. I'm done. Any questions? I'm sorry, I'm looking in here. What ways have you found creates the best engagement or recognition? So I think I think there's a two-tone approach to that. I think you have to think about on-campus approach, and you also have to think about a virtual approach to all publicity when you do it, right? And so I think when you think about an in-person approach, the word of mouth, the conversations, the handing out a piece of paper, making eye contact, I think we're finding is better than just hanging a poster on a bulletin board and crossing our fingers that someone read it and want to come. Okay, so it's that personal connection with people, working with faculty and staff to ask them if they can help advertise, or you can make an announcement in your class that something is going on. Personal connections are being best. I think when it comes to virtual, what we're finding is our engagement on Instagram has been amazing. I think being able to share reels, videos in some capacity, photos are doing a lot better than just graphics. So I think it's really taking it kind of to the next level when it comes to our social media engagement too. The other thing that we do is we do allow some of our student leaders in our cohort to take over our Instagram. So if you know someone who is in student government or is an ambassador or on the programming board, a first year experience mentor, one of our civic engagement ambassadors, they can also help advertise if they take over the Instagram for the day. And we can have them interview you or do some things like that. Anything else that I can answer? So best way for you to get us the information is there is a publicity link. That's also a form that's been in all the emails that Dan has sent out, but I will copy and paste it and put it in here for you in a few minutes. You just want to submit everything through that form, and that form will give you all options thank you, Dan. We'll give you all options of how we can help you advertise. So it'll ask you, do you want us to print them and post them on bulletin boards? Would you like us to post it on our social media outlets? Would you like us to send a text message? Would you like us to put it in our community on my CCBC? And would you like to include it in Friday newsletter, which is coming back, friends? For those of you who have been around for a while, our newsletter kind of took a little hiatus, changed a little bit, but it is back now and will be going out weekly. All right. Right, Linda, thank you. We chat all the time that sometimes we're like brother and sister. And then we can also bicker like brother and sister at times. All right. Thank you, everyone. And thanks for putting your name in your club. If you didn't do that, please make sure you do that. And Dan's sitting right outside my office, which is why I'm echoing. Okay, bye.
Hey, now we're going to play some word Scrabble. So it's like traditional Scrabble. I'll give you guys a word and then give you guys probably 2 to 3 minutes per word. And then after that, I'll say, time, and then you guys can type it in the chat. So this one looks like a little bit of a tricky one. Not too tricky, but still Scrabble. Got some ideas what it could be. Yeah. Got some good guesses. Got inclusion, council. Some good guesses. All right, conclusion, maybe. Conclusion, yep. Got a couple. All right, I'll call it there. So the word actually was inclusion. So Liz got it right the first time. So round of applause for her. There. Okay. Oh. Okay, moving on. Oh, there is no S. Whoops. There's supposed to be an S. It was supposed to be inclusion, but let's move on. Okay, here's our next word. A little more tricky, some funky letters on here. Yeah. So give you guys probably 30 seconds. Yeah. Got some good guesses already. Trying to think what it could be. Got a couple of guesses. Yeah. Got networking. Any more guesses, you guys? Yeah, so the word was networking. You guys got it pretty quick. All right, moving on. All right, this one, it's a little tricky too. Got a lot of I's, got a lot of T's and an N. Invitation, maybe. Initiative, maybe. Initiative, getting a lot of those. Initiative. Nice. So yes, it is initiative. All right, moving on. This one. Wow. Got some W's. Got the whole alphabet in this one. Got some good guesses off the bat. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So looking at the chat, looks like we got empowering seems to be the consensus here. So yes, it was empowering. All right, final word. Shrimp beam. That's obviously not the word, but mm, got a couple answers. Maybe. Yep. The overwhelming consensus says membership. All right, so thank you guys for playing. That was the last one. And I'm going to hand it off to Vivian, and she's going to tell us how to be an executive board member. So take it away, Vivian.
Thank you, Dan. The last one got me. The shrimp beam. That was funny. So to finish off our day, we're just going to talk about what it takes to be an executive board member. So for starters, what is an executive board member? And I want to make it clear that it's not just some fancy title you can have. It's actually about like committing into shaping your club and also having that fancy title. Uh, an executive board member is a student leader who is responsible for making decisions. They're the ones coordinating the activities, and they're also the ones that are making sure that the club is running smoothly. They're usually elected by club members, and an example of executive board members are your presidents, your co-chairs, your secretaries, and so forth. And you may be wondering who can be an executive board member. And honestly, guys, this position is open to everybody, no matter what background or how long you've been a member of the club. It's just a member of having the drive to hold these positions. So now that we know that anyone can hold these titles, what important skills do you guys think an executive board member should have? And you can either just type it in the chat if you want or unmute your. And in the chat box, the Psychology Club is also seeking executive board members. So if anyone is interested in that, so thank you, Parita, for that. So Amanda said time management, of course. Time management, communication. Oh my gosh. Good critical thinking skills, social skills, organizational skills, diplomacy, commitment, creativity, communication, leadership, personal and group responsibility, organizational mindset, innovative, research skills, patience. Yes, you got to be patient. Ability to delegate, of course, share the tasks, total interest in club success, following those goals. Well, thank you guys. Not being non-judgmental. It seems like you guys kind of know what I'm going to be talking about today. So I came up with 4 that I want to focus on for this session, and they are being an effective communicator, which you guys said communication a good amount of times, decision making and problem solving, so that taps into your critical thinking skills, time management, which you guys also said, and just demonstrating those leadership and teamwork abilities. So effective communication is the ability to share information and ideas in a way that's clear, understandable, and respectful. So we're going to be talking about four key aspects that come into play with effective communication. And I'm going to break them down into four, which are clear communication, open communication, respectful communication, and active listening. So clear communication is all about being able to express your thoughts and ideas in a very easy manner for everyone to understand. This means you're using clear language, you're avoiding jargon, and you're just as specific as you possibly can be. It also means that you're avoiding ambiguity, confusion, and sarcasm. I myself struggle with sarcasm, so I feel like a lot of people might too. So I usually try to steer clear from that. Uh, an example of this would be if you're giving instructions to someone, you want to make sure you tell them exactly what you want them to do. If you're part of a club or an org, you should really, really, really stick away from speaking and saying things like just do it or figure it out because them figuring it out could be completely different from what you wanted them to do, and this could cause conflict. And that's what we really want to avoid. And then we have open communication, and this is all about creating an environment where everyone feels comfortable sharing their thoughts and ideas. This means being open to feedback, even if it's negative. I know sometimes it can be hard, but I think it's part of being an executive board member, just taking in what people have to say. You also have to be willing to listen to what others have to say and consider their perspectives. So if you're in a meeting uh, for one of your clubs and orgs and someone's disagreeing with you don't want to just be like, whatever, and dismiss their opinion. You want to take the time and be like, why are you saying that? Like, why are you disagreeing with me? And hopefully you guys can come to a consensus and figure out the problem. And then we have respectful communication. And this is just about valuing and uh, sorry, and avoiding judgment. This means listening to what others are saying without interrupting them when they're talking, and avoiding any name calling or any insults. We're all adults, so we should try not to do that. You're also mindful of your body language and your tone of voice when you speak with people. Uh, if you're in a disagreement one day, you should try to just avoid saying you're wrong or you always do that, and just speaking out like how you would probably talk to someone you have respect for, or how you would speak to your parent is the same approach that you should treat other members of your org or your club. And then we have active listening. So this is about being engaged in the conversation and actually paying attention to what other people are saying. You're avoiding distractions, whether it be looking down at your phone, checking your email, or just kind of disassociating when they're talking to you. You want to actually engage in the conversation, ask clarifying questions to make sure that you're understanding what they're saying. So if someone's speaking to you, you shouldn't just go, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You should try to ask them follow-up questions just to show that you're interested in what they're saying. And this is how you not only one, create relationships, but you're also demonstrating that you do have respect for them. So I have a quick scenario for you guys. Would anyone like to read this text message for me, please, out loud?
Sam, you need to make and print the flyer for our meeting like today. LOL. We told you to make the flyer like 2 days ago, and it's really not rocket science. Use Canva. ...
Thank you. So now that we are a little more familiar with effective communications, what do you think about this text message? Do you think it's effective? Um, if not, could someone tell us why? And you could just type it in the chat or unmute yourself, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Sorry, can I just go ahead?
Aaron says it seems passive aggressive. I agree. Seth says it's a little condescending. It's unprofessional, of course, and slightly degrading. Yeah. There's no real direction, ambiguity. It's rude. It is. So I know sometimes being part of these clubs and orgs, we feel like we build a bond with our other members, and we can feel like sometimes we could talk to them in this sense, but we have to remember that this is helping us become professional as an executive board member. So we should try to steer clear from talking to people this manner and just kind of speaking to others how we would like to be spoken to, giving people instructions how we would want to receive instructions. That way, there's no miscommunication. So our second skill that I want to talk about is problem solving, which will tap into decision making, and you'll see a lot of similarities with them, but they just piggyback off of each other. Uh, so problem solving is a critical skill that all executive board members have. I came up with a step-by-step approach that I believe you guys can use for like a way to figure out how to solve the problems in your clubs. And I think this approach can honestly even be used in any aspect of life. So the first thing that you'll want to do is define the problem. So ask yourself, uh, what problem are we having and what problem are we trying to solve? What are the symptoms? What's causing it? Next, you'll want to brainstorm possible solutions. So don't be afraid to think outside the box. Like Chrissy said earlier, get wild with your ideas. The more creative you are, the more likely you are to come up with solutions. And then you'll also want to evaluate the solutions that you've came up with, and just consider the pros and cons of each one of them. And I would highly recommend writing it down because speaking sometimes you'll totally forget, like, what did I say 5 minutes ago? So just writing it down or typing it somewhere can definitely be helpful when weighing out the pros and cons. And then you want to make sure that once you implement the solution, you're actually taking note of the actions that need to be done in order to implement it. Are we starting from scratch? Are we adding other people in order to fix a problem? So just taking into consideration all of those steps. And once everything is done, you'll want to monitor the results, just going back and making sure that everything is working. And if not, you just got to go back to the drawing board and think of a different solution and not just giving up the first time around. Because life will keep bringing in problems and you'll just have to keep solving them. So the role of an executive board member in decision making is to make those informed decisions that are in the best interest for your club. You'll use your critical thinking skills and some analysis for all situations. And you also want to take in your club's goals and needs, making sure that whatever you're coming up with still aligns with those goals. You want to make informed decisions. So, you, as an executive board member, should gather all relevant information, whether it be talking to your advisor, performing extra research online, or, of course, brainstorming And then again, weighing out those pros and cons. And once you've considered all your information, then you can make the decision that you think is best for the club. Executive board members should be prepared to stand by their decision, even if it's not a popular one. And I know that can sometimes be displeasing and it's something that you don't want to do, but you have to think of the bigger picture and know that you have to set your feelings aside sometime. You should also be open to feedback and willing to change your mind if you receive new information. I have another scenario for you guys. Do I have a volunteer to read it for me, please? You can read it, Amina.
Your club is going through a transition. 3 out of 4 of the executive board members will be graduating at the end of the semester. New members need to be selected to take over for those 3 roles. However, there is a disagreement among club members about the best approach on selecting board members.
Thank you, Amina. So as you guys can see, there is some challenges / problems and some decisions that need to be made with this. I came up with 4, but I would want to hear what you guys think the problems that could come with making this decision. And you can either just type it in the chat box or unmute yourself. So to get you guys started, one of the ones I wrote was criteria. Like, how will we be judging the new executive board members? Like, what like skills are we looking for them to have? Who's picking the new members? Yeah. Thank you, Noor. Availability for events and meetings. Yeah, so you got to ask those questions of will you be able to show up and be there as an executive board member? Levels of engagement in previous clubs. So yeah, it's kind of like a job. We need to see uh, your experience. Availability of new members. Are people interested in joining? Yeah. So I'll show you guys what I have. It's gonna run really slow and then really fast. Okay, I'll just let it run. So I had process, criteria, transition, and integration because one, we need to figure out how we're going to exit the old executives. And then 2, you need to judge the new members. And then finally, you'll want to transition into their new roles. So they might need to meet with the advisor one-on-one and do certain things in order to have that title. And then they'll have to integrate with the team, which may take some adjustment time. So our third skill for being an executive board member is time management, which is something we always drill you guys with. We're always like, learn your time management. What works best for you? And we have to remember that at the end of the day, we're all different people with different habits on how we like to do things. And you have those people in the world that they can mentally keep track of what they need to do. And if you tell them once, it's done. Versus there's people that need to actually write down on their planner what they need to do. And then you have people that like to use their phone calendar and just keeping track of that. And then there's people that just forget. Um, So my advice for you guys is to prioritize your tasks. So you can either do this by having a blank sheet of paper and writing all the tasks that you need to do for the day, and then going back and writing 1, 2, 3 on which one needs to be done, with 1 and then 3 being the least. And this will help you guys reduce any stress that can come just from completing your tasks. It can avoid procrastination since you kind of know what really needs to be done up top to all the way at the bottom. It'll help you meet those deadlines, and you'll be able to experiment with what makes you more productive. So some tips for you guys to stay organized. I would recommend you using a planner, whether it be electronic or paper. Set up a routine and try to stick to it. Usually the first few days are going to be rougher than 3 weeks in. You want to break things down and, of course, be realistic. Don't try to give yourself a to-do list that's over like 30 things to do for one day. Try to keep it simple, put it at like 3 or 4, which is manageable. But what strategies or tools do you guys use for time management that you guys could share with us? So you could just type it in the chat box if you'd like. So recently, I found out that Microsoft has a to-do list app. So I downloaded that on my phone. Someone set alerts on my phone, reminders, and a calendar within each. Yeah, these are good ideas. Google Calendar and Notion. I've heard of Notion. I heard it's not as hard as it seems to set up. Microsoft Calendar, yeah. Set a limit of time to work on one project and go over it. That's hard. But yeah, due dates help prioritize. Leave sticky notes for myself. I do that. Trello, I've never heard of that. Task planner. Planner. Well, thank you guys. A lot of different ideas. And sticky notes, yeah. Really liked what Amina said about setting like a limit on one project. It's something I'm gonna try to incorporate, but it's always easier said than done. Phone alarms, Notion is amazing, takes a little time to figure out. Yeah, that's what I've heard, yeah. But once you get it, you can keep track of everything. The limit helps, yeah. We should all try to practice with that one. Gifts to myself when I complete a task, yeah. So lastly, guys, I'm gonna end off by talking about the dynamic duo of leadership and teamwork. So leadership, OneDrive share, yeah. Uh, so leadership is the ability to influence others to achieve a common goal, while teamwork is the ability to get everyone together towards a common goal. Both of these skills are important for executive board members because they need to be able to motivate and inspire others, but they also have to be able to effectively work with others to solve problems and make decisions. An effective leader is said to be empathetic, adaptable. They have those effective communication skills, and they're able to set visions and work towards those visions. And teamwork is all about collaboration, demonstrating diversity, and celebrating any achievements that you have with your team members. The best way to develop your leadership skills is to get involved, either by learning, taking on leadership opportunities, and just always working on yourself by working on self-improvement. And I want you guys to know that you don't have to go super far out trying to find these leadership skills. CCBC has you covered when it comes to that. So you can cultivate them right here with us. As you can see, this PowerPoint, all of these guys are underlined. So I will be sharing this PowerPoint with you, and you'll be able to click on them if you're interested about these resources at CCBC to grow your inner leader. But I personally worked with student engagement. I hear a lot of raves about MSSI. PTK is huge. Honors programs is held on all of our campuses. Our leadership lunch series are going to be taking off this fall semester, and alternative breaks give you a time to step away from your community and go experience different communities. So definitely check this slide out when you get a chance. So becoming an executive board member is truly a journey, but one that is definitely worth taking. It's a chance to make a difference in the world, but you do get to work with talented people and dedicated people. So you kind of get to step away from your regular life and learn and grow as a leader. If you're interested in becoming an executive board member, you can follow these simple steps of setting goals and just asking yourself, what do I want to achieve when I become an executive board member or as an executive board member? What kind of impact do you want to make? You also want to identify your skills and experience. What can you bring to the table? What are your strengths and weaknesses? You also want to explore opportunities. So there are actually many organizations here at CCBC, either that are already in place or ones that you can create that are looking for board members. Like Parita mentioned earlier, the Psychology Club is looking for executive board members. Take the time to do some research and find out what these organizations' goals or values are and see if that's something that you're actually interested in. Take the time to step out of your comfort zone and network with others. Get to know people who are already executive board members for other orgs. They can honestly be a great source of support and provide you advice. And also be patient because sometimes the right opportunity takes some time to come to your doorstep. You just gotta be persistent and don't give up. And to finish us off for the day, I want to share a quote from Ariana Huffington. Leadership is not about being fearless, it's about taking action despite your fears. Thank you guys. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
Okay, so last thing we're gonna do is, you guessed it, play another game. So this one's called Caption This, and basically it's gonna be a series of GIFs, GIFs, whichever way you want to say it. And then you guys can type in the chat what you think the caption should be. All right, so this one is Lil Yachty and Drake. So what do you guys think is going on here? I think he's figuring something out. Haven't been. Collaboration, nice. Collaboration, good, good. Finally found a solution for the problem. Yep. When you can remember your password, yes, I like that. When your friend finally listens to you, great. Showing my mom how to use Word. These are really funny. Awesome. Yes, it's Drake and Lil Yachty's the one on the computer. Okay, second one. Mr. Krabs. What's going on here? He's a little frustrated, a little ticked off. I am not stressed, of course, of course. Annoying work to do, yeah. Where's my money? Yep. Not today. When a club puts in an expense request the day it was purchased, yes. Don't swing, very true. I drop, yes. Why did I sign up for an 8 a.m. class? All good ones. All right, so we're moving on to the next. This is a lovely little mouse eating some food. I think those are M&Ms. Until next payday, yes. Snack between classes, awesome. Me eating my first meal at 3 p.m. when Taco Bell is hitting the spot. Very true. Leftover food from the trip you planned, it's like a reward. Yeah, yeah. Be finding something to do despite 300,000 word essay due at midnight. Yeah. Cafeteria food is pretty good. Just this one. Yeah, awesome. All right, number 4, good old Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal. Jump scare. Very much so, yeah. Wait, an exam is tomorrow? Yeah. Did she really just say that? Professor mentions due assignment, hearing tea from a stranger's convo public. Very true. Pop quiz. Word. Ooh, what did they say? Yes. Awesome. These are great. You guys are doing good. Free food from who? What happened at that meeting? Oh my gosh. All right. Last but not least is good old side eye. And I hope. Very true. Lowest exam score being dropped. Yeah. Side eye. Yeah. Did I just see that? When a club copies you? Very true. Are they gone? Go grab them donuts. Bombastic side eye? Very true. I'm a walk away? Yeah. And they said they floss twice a day. And someone is trying to cheat off of you? Yeah. Hearing someone say an incorrect topic on someone being yo. Yeah. There's a mistake on the flyer and you're the one who made it. Yeah. Yes. All right. So thank you everyone for playing all my games. I appreciate it. I'm gonna. Thank you. Does Chrissy or Vivian?
Yep, it's me. It's me. All right. Well, I think before we wrap up, just want to see if there's any questions that we can answer for you all. And here's our lovely pictures and contact information for you all to be able to know who we are. So Catonsville, you've already met Dan, but hopefully you've also met Miss Nancy and Brianna, who are administrative support there at Catonsville. I know you have met me. I have the privilege of overseeing both Dundalk and Essex. And at Dundalk, you've met Dan and Vivian, and Danny is also at Dundalk to provide support. And then at Essex, Karen Jackson is at Essex, and she provides budgetary support for both Dundalk and Essex. So I know sometimes that can get a little bit confusing, but anything with the budget, if you're at Dundalk or Essex, is going to be Karen. Any questions as I have all of your names in a spinner, so I'm ready to to spin away. All right, let's see. What's
Can
the
I
best
pop out
advice?
2 quick reminders before? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jenna.
What's the best advice you can give to people who are new to clubs and being a club president, asking for a friend? Love it. I can take a stab at this, but I don't know if any of you would like to take a stab at this, especially some of our advisors. If you would like to help Jenna, new to a club and being a club president, what advice would you give them? So my first piece of advice I would give you is be a sponge. And what I mean by that is absorb everything that you can absorb from everyone around you. Your advisors are going to be your first step. And I think meeting with the advisor, understanding the club and organization a little bit more, and figuring out what expectation there is of you from the advisor, right? And how that working relationship is going to go, and absorb all information that you can. So be a sponge, I think, is my best piece of advice. And don't be afraid to ask for help or ask questions, would be my second piece of advice. As I say, I always say there's no dumb question, because if it's a question that you truly have, it's not dumb, just ask. Um, and we're here for you. So stop in student engagement also, and we will be glad to help you. So
I think the biggest piece too for a club president that I give advice is that for any meeting or event you're going to have, think about it ahead of time. We often through the years have seen students complain or be frustrated when they get into a room and everyone just looks at each other and says, "So why are we here? What are we doing?" It's really helpful for the club president or the executive board or the advisor to get together ahead of the meeting, whether that's an email, a quick chat to talk about, what are we going to do at this meeting? What's our goals? How are we going to make this fun? How are we going to welcome new folks in? Um, how are we going to get to know each other? So maybe that's a couple icebreakers right at the beginning to get to folks know each other, figure out what you're going to do to make it engaging for the community.
yeah, thanks, Renica. You will gain so much leadership skill. You will gain so many leadership
Mhm.
skills no matter what club, and we'll be so happy you got involved. Expand your horizons. College is a time to explore who you are and what you want to be, your strengths, your weaknesses. Oh, Rhonda, thank you. Manage your time and have fun. Yeah. We find here at CCBC, and I think we find this in general, that our typical leaders like to be leaders within many organizations or many different ways because it's who we are. I'm also a leader just like you are, and we all, what's the saying, like to bite off more than we can chew sometimes and have trouble saying no, right? And so I love that you said that, Rhonda, because it's true. Like, you need to be able to manage your time, you need to be able to have fun, but it's also okay to say no. Yeah. Thank you. And if you have other questions, put them in. I know Dan wanted to say a couple of things before we do the drum roll, please, winners.
And I want to give voice to the comment Patricia put in the chat, to be patient, partner with other clubs and members. Sometimes it's having a giant impact on a small number of members is better than having no impact on a giant number of members. So it's quality, not just quantity of members, that we ask student organizations to remember. So thank you, Patricia, for giving voice to that. And that's kind of like a perfect segue, because one of the things that we have coming in student life, that student engagement, I know the name of this office, I swear. One of the things we have in student engagement, I'm putting in the chat now, but we are having luncheons the second week of class there, after Connect Fest, to help you connect with other student leaders, to compare what you're doing as an executive board to what another group might be doing, look for collaboration opportunities or ideas you can steal from each other, look to get to know some of the other student leaders and student organizations on your campuses. So there's no formal agenda. It's a chance to reflect, a chance to connect with other people, a chance to really talk about what your goals are, what you maybe have found worked in your student organization to continue the conversation, and what you may be struggling with. So you'll see it in the chat, Catonsville on September 12th. That's a Tuesday, Dundalk Wednesday the 13th. There's a room change, so please be updated on that if you've got my previous email with the other room location that did change. and the Essex location, Essex event on Thursday, September 14th, but that's in the chat. Like I said, it's a very informal event, but a chance for you to get to know other student leaders, to collaborate, to get to know what opportunities they might be thinking about, and to look at that. So please make sure you stop by. I'll be at those events. I know Chrissy's planning to come to some, and some of our student engagement staff too, if you want to bounce ideas off of us in a more relaxed event. Plus, you get a free lunch, so that's always a good thing. And the other thing I wanted to do a quick reminder about in the chat here, and I'll put the information, is about student organization reaffiliation. So every year we ask our student organizations to let us know if students are still interested, let us know the advisor still wants to be the advisor, that students are willing to take leadership on the executive board. So I threw that information in the chat, just letting us know. It's a couple of forms to fill out. It's a YouTube video to watch, to let us know that folks are still interested in your student organization. A lot of times, like I said, recruitment happens at Connect Fest. So please start thinking about that and to meet that there. Hopefully it's not a overcome role burden to get that done, but it does help us know in student engagement that students are interested in your group and help us help you along the way. If you have questions on any of those, feel free to ask now, drop us an email or a text, or stop by the office later. And
How are they texting you?
I don't know.
Why did you
Stop by? Stop by. We're
text
here.
Dan, but he's not going to give you his number, so
Send me
figure
a
it
message
out.
on Teams too. I'm almost always on Teams, as some of the folks here know. Honestly, it's probably better because I know some of my colleagues here have texted me, and it takes a lot longer for me to respond than when you just send me a message on Teams, in all honesty.
Unless it's about his favorite sports team, he sends text back pretty quickly with that.
Anyways, I'll turn it back over to Chrissy.
See, I can share secrets. All right. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Vivian. Thank you, Vivian, for doing this. Linda, you don't want to know who his favorite baseball team is, because it will probably hurt your brain a little bit, but it's okay. We'll keep him around. Let's just say the Orioles have a better record this year. So, but Linda, I didn't say that at all. So it's okay. We we support all people who love all teams. We just might pick on you a little bit. So Vivian, thank you. Vivian took the lead on putting this all together. You did a great job as always in this role. She's coming up on what I think like 6 months now in this role, and is doing great. And we're looking forward to doing even more with our leadership lunch series. So look for that to come out. We'll be doing some recognition of all of that. All right. So the club and organization that had the most attendance here today is the one I was picking on earlier with the 15-letter acronym, but it's our dental hygiene organization. So congratulations to you all. We will be in touch with you in regards of getting you some catering for an upcoming meeting. You all will pick the day and the time and all of that. And then I'm going to stop sharing this one. Did that work? Okay, I just want to share this because I don't want you all to think that I'm like making up my own thing here. All right, can everyone see that? I hope. All right, I'm just gonna spin it. I think I took out all of the faculty and staff, but if it's your name and your faculty and staff, please just tell me. So you guys can't hear that, but it actually is really loud, and like confetti went off, and like a lot of things were happening here. All right, Aaron Smith, are you still on? Aaron? Yes, you're still there. Aaron, perfect. So Aaron, if you could I'm going to put my email address in there. I just need to get your CCBC ID number, and you don't need to put that in a public chat with anybody. So I'm going to put my email. If you can just email me with your CCBC ID number, we're going to put some money on your one card for you. So congratulations. Thank you for being here today. Thank you all so much. And Vivian, I don't know if you have anything to wrap it up.
That's all. Thank you guys for coming. Have a nice day.
And we can hang around if anyone has any questions that you.
Thanks, everybody.